So welcome back to Questions, Answers, and Solutions. I'm your host, Jameer Hayward. I'm welcoming to the conversation Miss Caril Hawes Jones. My apology.
It's okay.
I want to first give a shout out to my number one supporter who's always in the building. I want to give a shout out to the engineer for tonight from FLO Empire Radio. If you're tuning in, you can tune in to buildingsafercommunities.com/radio. And or you can call in to join the conversation or simply just ask questions. The telephone number is 929-227-4646. So without further ado, I just want to jump right into this conversation. It is a heavy one. And I know we received a lot of information from the males in regard to racism, but I am very delighted to have Caril here with me to talk from a woman's perspective. So how you doing tonight, Caril?
I'm blessed. How are you?
I'm hanging in there. I'm kind of a little nervous about the conversation, I have to say, because this is something that we've faced for years, continue to face. And it's talked about, but sometimes talked about lightly. I get a lot of different perspectives, and I'm definitely delighted to have you here tonight as a Black woman to discuss the issue on racism.
Unapologetically Black.
Yes. Oh, I love that. Say that one more time.
Unapologetically Black.
Yes, and looking lovely.
Thank you.
Okay, so tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I have two daughters, originally from Brooklyn. Love Brooklyn. Grew up in the 60s, so it was a lot of racism going on at the time. But one of the lovely things about that time was that everybody embraced each other as brother and sister, and that's how we referred to each other. That's what we called each other. We were queens, we were kings, we weren't any of these bees and all that other stuff,
Right.
So we really embraced the nationality and the brotherhood, sisterhood. It was a good thing. I'm a retired law enforcement officer. I retired from parole I started out as a field parole officer, but then retired as the deputy director of reentry services, trying to help formerly incarcerated individuals reenter back into society and help them get whatever services they needed, housing, mental health, drug treatment, whatever, employment, etc. I was the first female and the first Black president of the New York State Parole Officers Association. To date, I'm the only Black still, which is still a shame.
Yeah.
What else can I tell you? I have a daughter that goes to a private school, which is predominantly white. So, we got a handle on the racism thing.
Yeah. So you initially mentioned that back in the day it was slightly different. A lot of people embraced each other, especially people of African American descent. How has that changed?
How has it changed? Well, I'm not going to say we no longer. A lot of us don't embrace our heritage. A lot of us don't know where we came from, which means that we don't know where we're going. Because if you don't know where you came from, then you won't know where you're going, in my opinion. So they say in Ma'afa, the way out is back through. So you have to go through all this stuff and all the pain that your ancestors faced in order to come out on the other side. So...
And how do you share some of that information with others, being whether it was in your field of employment and or your household with your daughters and your extended family?
Well, I definitely teach my daughter about her heritage and her history. We attend the African Village in Brooklyn on Sundays on occasion so that she can get some more information. I have her reading, Black history books. We go over certain things, and when topics come up in the news, we discuss it, things of that nature, like unarmed Black people, not even men so much anymore, unarmed Black people, kids, women, men, being shot and killed for absolutely no reason. And what else can I say about that? Well, I keep her grounded as well. So on the job, it was a lot. When I first tried to become president of the Parole Officers Association, they tried to block me at every turn. But what was beautiful about it was that the Black members of the association actually came up to Albany at our general meeting and backed me up. So it was like not much that they could do to block what we were trying to do.
So what did some of those obstacles look like for you when you say that you were blocked as a Black woman?
Well, call me Barack Obama, like I said before.
Yes.
Every time you try to get something done or passed, you get everybody voting against you, that kind of thing. And what can I say? The executive branch or the offices were mainly white, mainly white men. So they really didn't want me to have anything to get passed, inside the association. So, but it wasn't much that they could do because we had a large contingency of black officers who backed me up. So it was a beautiful thing.
And what kept you empowered in those moments, I would say?
My people.
Okay.
Definitely my people. Knowing what we needed to do and knowing where we came from and what we wanted to do. That was basically it.
All right. So in your opinion, how deep-rooted is racism and what does it look like today?
You can't legislate hate. That's one thing you can't do. You can put laws out and expect people to follow them, and they will at times, but you can't change people's hearts unless they want their hearts to be changed. So, it's interesting to see that in 2017, when my daughter first went to the school she goes to, she's in the 10th grade now, but in the 7th and 8th grade, she was the only black child in the entire grade.
Right.
So that was interesting for the other kids to see and not just to meet her, but to see her. It's like, oh, can I touch your hair and can I touch your skin? And it's interesting. I mean, hey, we're human beings, that kind of thing. Okay, so our texture is a little bit different, so she's confident in who she is and empowered in who she is. So she's like, no, you can't touch my hair. Hair has energy. You can't touch it. I don't want everybody's, energy in my hair. We don't do that.
That's right.
So, it's just interesting to see in 2017. Now there's one other black child in the grade, but they waited until 9th grade to get her there. So it's really interesting. So it's 2 of them in the entire grade.
And was it a struggle to try to get your daughter into this predominantly white school? Did you face some issues with discrimination and racism trying to get her in?
Okay, she went.
I know
through
she's extremely smart, so they kind of couldn't block her with that.
No, it's nothing they can do about that.
That's right.
But she went through a program, Prep for Prep. A lot of your listeners may know what that program is all about. So it's a program for academically gifted children of color. So she was around all of these gifted children of color when she initially went through the 14-month program. So she was prepared because they have different lectures on what you may face, what you may be up against. And of course, her father and I discussed those things with her too, based on what experiences we had, because when we were coming up, I went to predominantly all white schools, but that was different. That was a different time period.
Right.
It was overt hatred, that kind of thing. And so did he. He was bussed out, so we discussed those kinds of things with her. And her grandfather was he's a tournament golfer. Well, not anymore. He's a little ill, but he was a tournament golfer. So he was a caddy at the White Golf Club. So he definitely faced a lot of it. So he discussed a lot of things with her too. So,
it kind of kept, like you said, initially it kept her grounded. But are there some days where it's a little more difficult for her to deal with, and how has that worked out?
Because she's the kind of individual that she is, she speaks up for herself.
Good stuff.
So we have no issue, and she speaks up intelligently and intellectually about whatever is going on. So it's not like you can do anything that will put her down.
Okay.
So I don't have any issue with her knowing that she's going to protect herself and to speak up about whatever it is that's going on in her life.
Okay, good stuff. So let's go a little bit back with the employment part. And I know you wore many hats, and it was interesting to hear that you, as a parole officer at that time and also president of the organization, had a hands-on approach with different elements of the parolee's life, being education, training, substance abuse, mental health, because you mentioned some of those, just to name a few. Did some of your, I would say, clients, were they referred to as clients as a parole?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Clients, parolees, whatever.
Parolees.
Yeah.
Did some of them face racism, and what was that experience like for them individually?
A lot of them faced racism. Unfortunately, we had a lot of, when I came into the job, unfortunately, there were a lot of white parole officers who definitely mistreated the parolees or clients or whatever, as you may call them. But and you could hear it. You could hear it from office to office, the things that they were saying to them and the way that they were denigrating them. And, there was absolutely no encouragement given to them from the white officers for the most part. There were some, I can't, say they were 100%, all of them were like that, but the majority of them were like that. And unfortunately, it kind of spilled over into some of the black parole officers who mistreated some of the parolees as well, because they, in this law enforcement capacity. And then a lot of the women had to act like they were, Mr. Tough Guy, that kind of thing. My thing was to treat everyone as a human being. Right. Mr. So-and-so, Miss So-and-so, thank you, please. This is how I was raised. And I figured, most black people were raised that way. We all say, thank you, please, Mr. Even the most degenerate person will say thank you or please, that kind of thing. So, I got to be mother, sister, parole officer, social worker, the whole nine, And they would just come in sometimes just to talk to me. And there were times that I really didn't have time to talk to them on report day anyway, but they would come in other days of the week just to sit at my desk and just to talk to me. Ms. Hawes, I need to speak to you. I just want to talk. I just want to vent. And they would do that. And then when it was time for them to, if they did something they didn't have any business doing, like, that caused them to get rearrested, knowing the kind of parole officer that I was, they would just come in and voluntarily have their bag and put their hands behind the back and say, I'm ready. Because I'm like, look, I've given you every opportunity.
That's right. And then you had an open door policy, which again is very commendable, being that, when you speak about parole officers, they don't, it's like, okay, we don't want to touch that.
Yeah.
So that's empowering to hear. With so many different issues we're facing so many different issues regarding racism. What stands out the most to you?
What stands out the most is that we have number 45, I can't even call him a president, who's fueling the hatred, fueling the racism, and he doesn't want it to get better, because he himself is a racist. But forget misogynist and all those other isms he is, but he himself is a racist. So we can't, it's hard. It's an uphill battle for us. I'm not saying that we need to give up, because God knows we don't. We need to fight. We need to fight the good fight. But to have him in power and to be the most powerful person on the planet at this time, it's a shame. It's really a shame. So back in the day, a lot of it was like covert. Even like down here, Wall Street, this area, it was like covert racism,
right?
That kind of thing. But now it's like so overt. It's it's amazing. It's amazing. So to me, it feels like being back in the 50s, even though, I wasn't, like raised in the 50s, that kind of thing. But it feels like it's back in the 50s when people could just do and say and be whoever and whatever they wanted to do when it comes to a white supremacist. So.
What do you think needs to improve in that area, and how do you think we're going to get there? What do you think it's going to take?
I think it's going to take a cohesive effort between all black people. I think we have to realize that we should love one another and not hate one another, not fear one another. We shouldn't be the women, the sisters, or whomever that gets on the elevator and holds their pocketbook, because we're afraid of our own people, because we're perpetuating that. If we do that, we're perpetuating that hatred. We can't. Now, I'm not saying don't be cautious, but you got to be cautious of white people, too. Because I covered one of the whitest precinct in New York City, the 19th precinct. They have just as many criminals, if not, in that precinct as they do in other precincts. Even though a lot of them did like high-end, big-time drug deals or art theft or whatever, you're still a burglar. You're still a drug dealer. You're still a drug abuser. Right. You're still a domestic abuser, whatever. You're still a criminal. So,
do you think it was underreported?
Absolutely.
Okay.
No question. Because a lot of times they deal with things in their own community, deal with things on their own.
Okay.
No question.
And did you, while working as a parole officer, did you have some parolees that were European?
Oh, yeah. Oh, well, the 19th precinct, most of them were.
Right. And
even though that's not the only precinct I covered, the 24th, the 20th, which Upper West Side, they were, was a lot of white people on my caseload then. But yeah, I had a lot of Europeans, a lot of Caucasians, absolutely, who thought that, of course, that they were better than us.
Still.
And you're on that side of the chair and you're better than me. I don't think so.
And what was that? What was the conversation like? And what do you recall, like a statement that was made or a feeling that you had while engaging with one of your European parolees?
Actually, one was very interested in suing parole in general. He thought he had this great lawsuit to sue parole in general, and I guess he tried to put me in the mix, but my thing is treat everybody the same way. I don't care what color you are. You're on that side of the desk. You're going to be treated like everybody else gets treated on that side of the desk. So I didn't really have any issues when it came to them, you know, and then a lot of my parolees, my black parolees, were like, since I was the mother figure for them, it's like, oh, don't mess with Miss Horace. You mess with her, you're going to have to mess with me, which was a good thing, you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, it could be a bad thing too. But it was, you know, it was interesting. So I didn't really, like I said, I didn't really treat them any differently than I treated anybody else, even though I did see colleagues, and especially the white colleagues, treat the Caucasians a whole lot better than they treated the black parolees. I did see a lot of that.
So because of racism and how powerful it is, have you ever gotten a feeling that because Europeans look after Europeans and this race looks after this race, I have to also look after mine?
That's not why I think I have to look after mine, because they look after theirs. And there is a lot of the Jews you know, they look after each other. Hispanics, you know, there's that cohesiveness between them. The Koreans, you know, who just look at us like we're something underneath their shoe, you know, and they've got a lot of nerve, you know. But I don't think, that's not my reasoning for thinking we have to look after each other. We have to look after each other because we need to look after each other. That's the bottom line. We need to. You know, we have a lot of power that we don't, unrealized power. That we need to, you know, we need to get it together, seriously. Because if just one day, you know, and a lot of this has been going on Facebook, Instagram, whatever, just one day, if it wasn't for the Montgomery bus boycott, which was an amazing time in history, if we just do something else like this, just one day, not spend a dime on this economy, they would hurt. So you got to hit them where it hurts.
That's
in
right,
the pocket.
You
know, that's what they understand. You know, and you got to hit them where it hurts, and that's in the pocket. So we need to do that. We need to stop giving lip service. We need to just go ahead and do it and say, okay, one day I'm just not going to, you know, go shopping the day before or the day after or whatever. But don't, just that one day, don't take the bus, don't take the subway, don't do that. I don't know, drive to work or something, whatever. Just one day, don't do anything, or just sit out. Don't do it. Just stay home.
Right. And that would make the stand.
Absolutely.
Going a little bit backward, do you think that racism is taught?
Racism is taught. It's not inherent, because if you see kids, toddlers, they're playing with each other. They have no concept of color, nothing at all. You know, they have no concept of gender, nothing at all. So yes, it is definitely taught. Just like homophobia, you know, it's all taught. And, you know, you definitely get it from your parents, no question, and your friends. And if you don't stop it, if you hear somebody making some kind of a racial statement and you don't do anything to stop it, then you're part of the problem.
Yes, absolutely. Do you think that there's a difference with racism, you know, between men and women?
Yes. I think black men are treated more harshly than black women, because in my opinion, this is just my humble opinion, white men covet us. They love us. You know, they actually, the entire, to me, the entire Caucasoid race, they love us. Why else would you want to get your butt cheeks, you know, get your lips, you know,
hair.
get your hair,
Your
your skin. You want to stay out in the sun and get burnt up. You know, why else would you want to look like me, my pretty bronze skin, you know, my nice wide hips and wide lips? Why do you want to look like me if you really hate us? You covet me, you know. So, but black men, they really, really, if you want to make sure that the family doesn't succeed, get to the black men. get to them. That's why the prison population is so overrun with black men. That's why you have them doing things to little black boys in the 4th grade to see if they're going to succeed or not. You
That's
know,
right.
it's a myriad of things that they can do to us if we let them. We just have to be powerful enough to not let them.
And where could we muster up this power to, as a black woman, to strengthen the black man against racism?
Well, muster up the power. We have to be taught. You know, it's unfortunate, but a lot of our younger sisters have not been taught who they are. They haven't been taught their history. Black people didn't start with slavery. You know, we were kings and queens and, you know, pharaohs and the whole nine. It didn't start, history did not start with slavery. You know, people say that they brought slaves over from Africa. No, they didn't. They brought free people over from Africa and enslaved them. So they need to understand that they need to learn who they are. They need to learn about their history. So you need to go back in time and see who you actually were. You know, you were the original mathematicians, the original astronomers, the original architects. Who else built the pyramids? They still can't duplicate that to this day.
That's right.
You know, so they need to realize, you need to realize who you are. So we have to go back in our history. We have to teach our children, especially our boys, and don't treat your son like he's your man. He's not your man. He's your son. He's your son. Treat him like he's your son and not your man. Make sure that he gets the information and the education that he needs in order to fulfill his destiny as a black man. Okay, so we need to empower ourselves. We need to learn ourselves so that we can teach. And we need to have, you know, we need to have our brothers' backs. That's the bottom line. If he's doing wrong, let him know. You know, this is wrong. You know, but don't embarrass him. Don't emasculate him in front of people. Don't do that. Take him to the side and say, listen, you know, that really wasn't cool. You know, whatever. But we don't have to, you know, call each other out of our names. We don't have to do that. But we do need to learn who we are. And we do need to recognize that the black woman is the seat of power. If we understand that and if we know who we are, then we can teach and we can support our brothers the way that they need to be taught and supported. Because without us, there was nothing. The first person on the earth was a black woman. You know, billions of years ago. You can't, there's no way that you can refute that. That's already been scientifically proven that the black woman was the first person on this planet. So if you know that, then you say, okay, so I have a responsibility to myself and to my people to teach and to be taught. And, you know, everybody can't be a chief. You got to have some Indians.
That's right.
You know, so we have to learn who we need to follow and what we need to learn and where we need to learn it.
Teach and remain teachable. So when we speak about, I know a lot of people have issues with interracial dating. And it's been said that some African American men will date white women because black women are too powerful, too strong, too outspoken, may not necessarily pull their partners to the side and explain that wasn't right, that wasn't cool. What do you feel about that?
Well, you love who you love. I can't deny that. It can be a strong attraction, but in terms of black men being, it's like you're afraid of us because we're who we are. So you're going to tell me because I'm powerful, I'm beautiful, I'm outspoken, I'm not was submissive, you know, all of those things. You're going to tell me all that, and that's why you don't want to be with me, because I'm going to talk back to you. I've seen white women talk to black men, even
degrading.
Please. And I'm like, the first time you call me the N-word, it's going to be over. We're going to move some furniture, you know. But the point is, you can't be afraid of who I am, because then you're telling me that you hate your mother. How do you, that's who birthed you. How can you hate your own mother, you know, and hate yourself? So, yeah, we need to, I don't know, interracial date. That's kind of hard for me to not to fathom. I see it, but I mean, if my daughters got involved with some white men, I'd be upset because I'm like, you can't find a brother who's, you know what I'm saying, successful and this, that, and the other. You can. You just got to look for them and stop saying, I can't find a man. You can find a man. They're out there.
They
And you can
surely
find
are.
a good man. They're out there. You've got one. You know, there's another one. They're out there. You just got to look hard enough.
And find yourself worthy enough to have
Absolutely.
one that will meet your
Absolutely.
standards, but you know there'll be a balance. Should I
Absolutely.
say?
And know that you're deserving.
That's right.
Know that you're deserving. And you got to, you know, reframe and stop playing that same tape. I can't. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So stop playing those tapes. I can't find a good man. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. They're looking for you, and I know you're looking for them. And they're out there. Give them a chance. But sometimes you may have to find somebody who may not be on your level, let's say intellectually or financially or mentally or whatever. Bring them up. You can do that. You have the power to do that, sister. You have the power to do that. So bring them up. You know, each one teach one. You know, put your hand down, bring them up.
And sometimes they would say that for Black women, sometimes we have very high expectations,
And we should.
Yeah, but
And we should.
But to the point where it may be a turn off, to the point where our expectations sometimes lead us to failure because we want so much in our men, as opposed to doing what you just suggested as bringing them up. Not to say that you just have to settle for anything, but sometimes I believe that us as Black women, like you said, need to support, need to bring up our men, and also not always go after what we want, but what we need instead.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Because, you know, to me, when you're with a white man who you say is better than the brother that you're experiencing at the
emasculating
time.
in itself.
Exactly. Exactly. You're telling me that he's better than what you could get? No, he's not. He's
Right.
not. If you just have a conversation with him, just converse. You know, and brothers need to understand it's not all about the B's and the H's and all that. You know, stop calling us that because that's not who we are. That's not what we are. But again, mothers, you know, this is a different generation.
It is.
And mothers need to teach their daughters, you know, the power that they have and who they are, and to be respectful of themselves and not to settle.
That's right.
Yes, you should have high expectations. Don't belittle yourself because somebody else wants you to be lower than them. Don't do that. Have high expectations, but at the same time, don't. What's the word I'm looking for? Don't think you're better than anybody else,
Humble.
because you're really not. Be humble. That's the word I'm looking for. Be humble. And there's nothing wrong with being humble.
Nothing
That's
at
not
all.
that's not humility and submissiveness are not the same. They're mutually exclusive. So they're not the same. So we need to understand that. Yes, I can find somebody. If I'm on Wall Street, I can find somebody on Wall Street if that's what I want. Or I can find somebody who's a sanitation worker or a porter or whatever. He's a good brother. He's a good brother. He's going to take care of business. He's going to take care of business no matter what.
That's right.
But talk to them. Have a conversation. Do that.
Effective communication is the key.
Absolutely.
Staying on the same topic, I'm going to do the reverse. Sometimes they say, and I've heard this as well, that some European women hunt for Black men.
Yes, they do.
Okay. What do you feel about
Yes,
that?
they do.
And I'm sorry to cut you off.
No,
Some
it's
of
good.
them are taught.
Oh, absolutely.
this.
Absolutely. And have babies. Because they're going to take care of you. You know, that's why you have all of these athletes and celebrities marrying these white women, because they're on the hunt for them. You know, you need to be on the hunt. If that's what it takes, then you need to be on the hunt. You know, and it's sad. It's really sad to see that you have all these nannies, like who married Tiger Woods, you know, that kind of thing, who are now marrying the Tiger Woods and the, I don't know who, name them, you know.
A whole bunch.
we can list them, you know,
We
the
sure
whole thing.
can.
But and it's sad to see that, but they are on the hunt. They do that, and I'm sure they're taught that. They're taught that. There was a joke a long time ago. You know, it said, "I don't want no white woman, and I don't want no Cadillac." Yeah, right. Okay, but what'd you go and get? You went and got a white woman. You went and got a Cadillac. You know, that kind of thing. So, you know, you need to be on a hunt too. You need to be in those places where they are, and you don't have to think that you're not good enough to be in those places where they are. And we're just as beautiful, if not more so, than they are. So, and we're not superficial like that. It's not like we're on the hunt because we want your money. I'm not going to say some of us aren't, because we are.
Yes.
But we're not on the hunt for that. You need to be on the hunt for a good brother. Somebody that you can rely on, somebody that will have your ride or die. You know, somebody that will always have your back and whose back you can have.
That's right.
So
It's a balance, push pull motion.
yeah, but they're taught that, and you know, and have your babies. I mean, look at what's his name? He's on Good Morning America now. Used to be with Kelly Ripa,
I'm not
the
sure.
football star, Michael Strahan. Look
Okay.
at him. You know, when he got divorced, you know, his wife, they were like, you know, she got a really, really, really big settlement. So it's like, well, what's the first thing you're going to do? She said, I'm going to Disneyland. And I was like, you know what? Go to Disneyland. Have fun. Have fun, because he had no business marrying you in the first place. And what did he do? You know, I mean, I'm like, do I see you with black women? Look at OJ. Just a couple of weeks ago, I mean, he just got out of jail.
Released
And
him.
you know, you just got released, and now you with 3 white women. I mean, hello.
I didn't even know that. You just gave me more information.
Hello. Did you forget who you are?
You just-
Did you forget where you were? I'm
Let me
looking
tell
at you in the news.
You can't keep doing the same thing expecting different results.
Exactly.
That makes you
Give
insane.
me a break.
I mean, and it's not to say, again, you know, when we're making these statements, we're doing it in the most humblest way, and we're being respectful. But these are our opinions.
Absolutely.
You know, and there may be some people out there who may not duplicate in these opinions, but our opinions, just as other people, should be respected.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So, when we talk about racism and the black man and the black woman and salaries and the white woman and the white man, what do you think about that?
Oh, there's definitely a disparity in salaries between all of us. I think black women get paid more than black men.
Yes.
You know,
On a totem pole, it was actually
White
incorrect.
man.
White man, white
White
woman,
woman,
black
black woman,
woman,
black
black
man.
man. Okay. So I know a little bit. I know a little bit.
absolutely, absolutely.
All right, so-
because they're trying to destroy the black family. You know, if
And the
think
strength is supposed to be in the black
no
man.
question, no question. So if I think you're not good enough, then I'm not going to be with you. You're not making as much money as I'm making.
Right.
You know, so I don't need to be with you. You know, that kind of thing. But, you know, listen, it's about nation building. You know, definitely about nation building. So like I said, bring them up.
I want to segue just a little bit about the black woman
Okay.
and how they should carry themselves. And sometimes I'm not sure if I'm saying this correctly, but do you think that sometimes we are discriminated against and racism is always in our face because not only for the black woman but also the black man because of the way we act?
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I do. And I'm not saying that you should look like white people, but you should have more respect. Carry yourself respectfully. You don't need to be out here, how can I say, you know, your breast showing.
Exposed.
You know, you
can be sexy,
your butt.
but
Yeah, you
nice.
can be sexy, but nice, but classy.
That's right.
You know, there's
Graceful.
a thing about being sexy and classy. And pull your pants up. For Christ's sake, pull your pants up. My daughter, I'm sorry, neither one of you will never.
Bring someone in the house looking
What?
like that. And even
way.
with a belt, sometimes it's like, okay,
Okay.
and not making excuses for racism, discrimination, generalizations, stereotypical behaviors. But sometimes I just think we need, like you said it earlier, we just need to get it together.
No question.
You know,
No
and
question.
as black women, you know, kind of leaning up off the men a little bit, we need to carry ourselves in a better way. You know,
We do.
respect our
We do.
bodies, respect
Right.
ourselves,
Right.
and not respond to the B word, the H word, the N word.
Exactly.
You know, because not only
Exactly.
are African Americans, blacks using these words, there are other people in other races referring to us as these words.
Absolutely. And think it's
You
okay.
know? Yeah,
And they think it's okay.
And also tearing the black woman down.
But see, if you carry yourself with a certain demeanor, then the brothers that are going to approach you
Are gonna be
they're going to
different.
say, listen, you know, I better
That's
pull
not
my
the one
pants
to-
up. That's not the one. You don't mess with this one. No, you come correct or you
Or
don't come at all. You know,
That's
you know,
right.
that kind of thing, because this is who I think I am, and this is who I think you need to be if you want to be with me. You know, and again, women have the power. Men want to be with the women. You know, we choose you, yes, but you look at us and say, okay, I want that one over there. But you know what? You can't come after me unless you come correct, like I said.
Right.
So there's a certain way, like you said, you have to carry yourself. Be respectful. You can't be sexy. You know, I see you all the time looking all sexy and
You too.
and
Look
nice
at
and
you.
classy. Well,
Listen,
thank you.
look at
But
that
I'm
face.
just saying, being nice and classy, and there's a way to do that.
Yeah.
There's a way to do that.
Absolutely. So let's segue a little bit more into the image. I love your hair.
Thank you.
It looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I'm getting into it. When we talk about racism, discrimination, being treated unfairly, and I'm actually empowered by a lot of Black women that I see that are becoming natural. What is that like? What does that feel like for you? I know what it feels like for me.
You know,
and I think you've been natural a long
forever.
time. Yeah.
Forever. There was a period maybe in the 90s where I straightened my hair like a couple of years, but that was it, you know. And then it was because sometimes you just want to do something different.
Yeah.
So I wanted to do something different at the time. But I've been natural forever. So I can't really say what it feels like. It's just me. It's just me. And you don't have to your hair doesn't have to look raggedy if it's natural. There's so many styles you can get with natural hair. Locks, it's just beautiful.
Unlimited.
It really is. It really is. You know, Dr. Frances Cress Welsing said that she proved that our hair is the perfect helix configuration, that anything can be done with it and it'll be beautiful no matter what you do with it because of the helix configuration. So embrace that. Embrace that.
And I think it just makes us stronger.
Your hair is stronger.
Even with Black males, a lot of them are, leaving their hair as is and, braiding it up or, locking it. And, and it just, I feel like it gives us so much strength.
It does.
And you said, just like you tell your daughter, there is so much power, there's so much energy in your hair and the coils of your hair. And I had a gentleman on my show who spoke deeply about that, and I think that kind of segued me a little bit, besides the conversations that I have with Todd about just being Black and being natural. His name was Winston. Winstein.
Okay.
Yeah, Winstein Armstrong. And he spoke a lot about the power in your hair. And then when we look at racism, I think a lot of people are fearful or were fearful as well as myself. And I would say psychologically, because it wasn't something that was in the forefront. I said, oh my God, I'm just so scared to do this. It was more like, okay, this is the image that's presented to us. When we go to the doctor, they tell us you have to be a certain weight. You have to look a certain way. You have to speak a certain way. And if you do speak a certain way, you're talking white. What is speaking white? So I think for myself as a Black woman, I'm finding myself a little bit more now via my kinetic energy, my power through my hair.
Wonderful.
Wonderful. And it's just it's amazing.
It is amazing.
And when I see other Black women, I'm like, oh my God, your hair. And I really didn't pay attention to that before.
Yeah.
And
there's a lot of energy in here.
Right.
A lot of energy in here. And it gives you energy. It really does. There are certain people I don't want to be around because of their energy. Certain people, I'm not going to let you touch my hair at all because hair holds energy. I'm not going to let you do that to me.
That's right.
So it's interesting just to be natural. I'm glad you decided that's what you wanted to do.
Yes.
And it's not that I'm going to say that there's anything wrong with having, because you always had braids or whatever. So it's still ethnically beautiful.
Yeah. I went to the braids after, leaving my hair out for a couple of years and then cutting it and then going, but the braids kind of helped me find a balance to say it's either now or never.
Right. Right.
Yeah, which was a good thing. And it also, speaking into racism, it makes me feel like I can step out and say what I need to say.
And be who you are.
That's right.
Even though there were, at a time, it's not so much now, but it still is, where if you wanted a certain type of employment, they would look at your hair and say, oh no, we're not going to hire this person because they are just too Black.
That's right.
If you notice, I haven't used the term African American. The reason I don't do that is because white people are Africans too. As a matter of fact, my daughter will be going to South Africa, it's like a lot of white people over here. So the point is, there was a girl I met who was from South Africa, and she was getting scholarships for being African American. So I don't use that term. That's just me.
Right.
Because white people can also be African American, but to be Black, that's why I'm just clarifying that for a moment. But in terms of who you are and your hair, I think it's a beautiful thing when sisters are just natural. And you can be natural if you want to. Just don't put the chemicals in. You can blow dry your hair and have it straight if you just want a different look or whatever. Because we can do that with our hair.
Very versatile.
We can do that.
Yeah.
So I think it's a beautiful thing when sisters embrace their naturalness, who they are, and their hair, because it gives you power.
Yeah,
You
and
know,
it
and you
speaks
don't have to-
volumes
it speaks
to
volumes.
your family,
Absolutely.
to your significant other, to people around you. And again, it's a different image.
It is a different
You know.
image. And don't be afraid that somebody's not going to hire you. Just have your hair neat.
Right.
You know, if you got locks, neaten it up. You know, if you're natural, neaten it up. You know, you're not going to be, for the most part, because if you show yourself approved, you're going to get that job.
That's right.
They want you no matter what. So it has nothing to do, I'm not going to, for the most part, it has nothing to do with your hair. It has to do with you and who you are. And don't go in
And how
there,
you
know,
present yourself.
Right. How you present yourself. You know,
Oh, boy.
all that.
Have you have you ever experienced? Well, I'm sure you probably have, because you speak very proper.
Yeah, I know
Right?
people say that.
Yeah.
They've been saying
So
that since I was a kid.
there's a properness in you, which I respect a lot. Have people said that to you? Oh, you talk white.
Oh, yeah. I talk
Yeah?
white. Oh, yeah. From
And what's your response?
my brother used to tell me that. My brother used to say, oh, you know, you talk like a white girl. You know, so I had to learn. This is crazy, but I had to learn to speak ebonically.
Okay.
You know, for certain people. So it depends on what kind of crowd I'm in.
Okay.
You know, because we flow
Meet
like
where
that.
they at. Meet
We
where they
flow
at.
like that. You know? Yeah, I can get down with the this and the that and the, you know, that kind. I can do that. But that's not what I wanted to do and who I wanted to be.
That's right.
You know, my daughter calls me the nerd of all nerds because when I was younger, I used to read the dictionary. Yeah, I know it's
My
kinda
mom
weird.
made me. No,
You
my
see?
mom made me
Okay,
look through the
good.
dictionary. Yeah, I thought I
read
was.
the dictionary.
I thought I was the only.
No. Then you're the nerd of all nerds too. Okay.
That's
You know?
funny.
And then I met some sisters, some older sisters, you know, back in the day, who were so intelligent and so into they could curse you out and without using
So
one
nice.
curse word.
Yeah,
so
gracefully.
nice, gracefully wouldn't raise their voice, and you'd go by and say, "Oh, well, thank you very much." You walk 10 minutes
Like,
later, you're like, did
what?
they curse me out?
Yes, they did.
And I wanted to be like that. I wanted to emulate them. You
That's
know, like,
right.
wow, that was really deep. Because I'm sitting there looking at them. Wow,
Mm-hmm.
she is really giving it to him or her, you know. And they're like, just sitting there oblivious, like, and then say thank you. I wanted to be like that,
That's right.
you know, because I can flow with the lowest of the lows and with the highest of the highs because of who I am, how I speak, how I taught myself to be. And sometimes you have to take the initiative. Because I grew up in Brownsville, Brooklyn. Come
Right.
on, and in Harlem back in the day.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm a Harlem Night.
Hey. Okay, so you know we didn't speak like that. You know, but that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to learn how to flow on both sides of the fence.
That's
I
right.
said, okay, so I want to learn how to speak to the intellectuals and speak to, you know, the little street hoodie rat, you know, because we
Yeah.
have to learn to communicate.
Yes,
Because this was
absolutely.
the neighborhood I lived in and I grew up in. So, you know. And
Make
just
a
like
connection.
Right. I tell my daughter, my youngest daughter, I tell her that today. My oldest daughter, she's good because she speaks like me, you know. My youngest daughter, she speaks better. I look at her and like, who are you? You know, the way she speaks, her vocabulary.
Yes.
It's amazing
Broad.
to me. Oh,
Yes.
my goodness. It's really amazing. And she has never been told that she sounds white. But trust me, when I tell you she sounds like a little white girl, she sounds like a little white girl. But she has never been told that because her friends are like that. So it depends on who you're with. If you're
Right.
with those kinds of people who speak like you and they still look like you, then you're not going to hear that.
Right.
And she doesn't hear
It's
that.
normal.
It's normal. For her, it's normal. It's totally normal. And then when she's around those little white girls, and I let her know, you can flow with them and you can flow with your sisters at the same time. But you know what? They can't do that. They can't do that. So
deep.
look at who you are and what you've got and how powerful you are that you can assimilate into both of those ethnicities
That's right.
and still be you.
Versatile. What does diversity mean to you?
Diversity is everything. It's not just black, white, Hispanic, you know, Indian, whatever. It's homosexuals, you know, LGBTQ. It's everybody. That's diversity to me. Because we're not a homogenous society,
Right.
you know, and you're not going to be in a homogenous society. I don't care where you live. You're not going to. So that's what diversity means to me. And I think it's important that we embrace everybody. Don't tolerate me. I don't want you to be tolerable
I love
of
that.
me. Don't tolerate me. No, you say, oh, they're tolerant. No. I'm me. You don't have to tolerate me. Don't apologize for me. If I need to, I'll apologize for myself, but there's no need for me to do that. So, you know, I don't think we need to tolerate anybody. I think we just need to embrace people who they are. I could care less who you sleep with, what color you are, or whatever. I could care less as long as you treat me respectfully, and I do the same to you.
Right. Yeah.
So
And
you reap what you sow. I believe in karma.
that's right. Negative and positive karma,
question.
actually.
No
Yeah.
question.
It's universal. The other
No
thing
question.
that I think was important that you said is just the cross connection with respect. I usually say this a lot to my students and some of my groups that I've learned. Sometimes the hard way, but I've learned to respect people who don't even respect me.
And
Because
you
I have so
right.
much respect for
For
myself.
yourself.
So it becomes it
Exactly.
becomes like really easy for someone to act up, should I say? And I could just stand there and say, okay, you've said your piece, and I respect what you're saying, but I just don't duplicate it and walk away in peace.
In peace.
Because
you
and
are
not
who you
have
are.
to, right?
Because you know who you are.
Yeah.
And people
Yeah.
will say things like, just to kind of piggyback on what you're saying, if I say something, oh, Jamia, please, whatever, and people say, no, I'm not begging you. Listen, I ain't too proud to beg if it's for my benefit.
Ain't that the
If
truth?
it's for my benefit, because guess who's going to win in the long run?
Me. Yes.
I'm still going to get what I want. So you still look like a fool no matter what. It doesn't matter. But again, you reap what you sow.
That's right.
And there's karma, negative or positive. There's universal laws that just govern us and control us.
That's right.
And we need to understand that the law of attraction. You attract what you give and you get it back. So if you want the negativity, you put it out there, you're going to get that back tenfold. You have to understand it has nothing to do with Christianity or the Bible. It's just universal law,
That's right.
So if you understand that, then, you just be who you are. It's okay, thank you. I don't have to sit down and have lunch and breakfast and dinner with you. But if we're colleagues or whatever,
Cordial.
respect me.
Yeah.
That's all. Just respect me. You don't have to like me, but we have a job to do or whatever it is.
That's right.
And it may not be employment. It may be anything. It could be a committee. It could be anything. But if there's something that we need to do, like black people, I may not like you as a person, but I respect you as my people. And I know that there are things that we need to do in order to get it together. So if I know that you have something to contribute, you're coming to the table, not just with your plate, your knife, and your fork. Put something on that plate.
That's right.
Okay, and if you have something on that plate and I have something on that plate, guess what? We both going to eat. I'm going to feed you. You're going to feed me. We're both going to eat. Let's share. That's the bottom line. So we just need to, get it together.
When it comes to our youth and trying to get them together, I know you said that parents in general just need to teach their children,
Right.
which I agree with. Who else can contribute to that besides the family?
They think they came up with this, this phrase, it takes a village. We came up with that phrase.
Long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. We didn't even say village because this is just who we were. This is how we were raised. Don't do something in front of somebody else's mother because guess what? That mother is going to get you too.
Yep.
Because that's your mother. When you're in their care, that's what I do with my daughter's friends. When you're in my care, guess what? You're my child. And I'm going to treat you just like I treat my child. Okay, so if you do something wrong, hey, I'm pulling you to the side and I'm saying, listen, this is what needs to be done. You did something you had no business doing, whatever. And I'm going to tell your mother.
That's right.
Okay, so the whole concept, not just your family, it has to be a village concept. When we see these young brothers and sisters doing stuff that they have no business doing, we have to pull them to the side and say, listen, can I talk to you for a minute? Don't be afraid of them. Don't be afraid to talk to them. Can I just say this? And even if you want to start with, I know this is none of my business, but let me just say this to you, and I think that a lot of them don't have anybody that's going to say
That
things
care-
that they need,
care
that
that
they
much.
care, exactly, that they need to hear. I'm not going to tell you what you want to hear. I'm going to tell you what you need to hear.
Right.
So if I see you doing something that you have no business doing, I'm going to put you to the side and say, listen, because I've done that. And people look at me like, don't do that. You may get shot or whatever. Listen, I understand all of that. But if I don't do that and if I don't show this little brother, this little sister some love, maybe they're not getting any love.
That's right.
That
That could be that one open door.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And if
You
we
could-
always walk around fearful,
Exactly.
then change will never happen.
It'll never happen.
Yeah.
Pull them to the side. Just talk to them. Talk to them. Don't be afraid. Don't be afraid. It's a different world. I understand that. But I think if you go at them with humility and respect, they're not going to shoot you.
Yeah.
They're not going to stab you. They'll probably just sit there and listen.
I'm gonna make a little joke, just like when I was going natural, I was saying, "Oh, I gotta look for all these different products that's gonna work." the thing to do is to go back to old school. What worked before may work now.
Exactly.
So I went back to S curl.
I heard that.
Yes,
I
right,
know
and
that's
it
right.
works,
Okay.
and that's that old school
Right.
stuff that they were
Right.
using with Jericho.
Right.
But now they just don't have the drip.
Right.
So it's right, they make it so it don't drip. I mean, you're still gonna
Exactly.
stain up your
Exactly.
sheets and stuff,
Exactly.
but it doesn't drip.
Well, you know what?
And it works.
Is,
And it's the
is
same-
that by Bonner Brothers?
It was, yes.
Okay, good.
And
okay.
it would be the same.
Just making sure it's by Black.
It
Okay.
is. I went. You know, I'm
making sure.
trying to stay connected here. That was a good
Hey,
one. I like
listen,
that.
I buy Black. I buy
Yes,
Black wherever
yes.
I can.
Yes, but and that's the same thing with the youth. You know, even though social media has taken over, a lot of things are being filmed. You know, we mustn't be fearful. We must go back to old school tactics,
Right.
not in a violent way,
Right.
but a productive way, a more communicative way, where we can
Right.
speak to them about
Exactly.
the things that need to be done,
Exactly.
and sometimes in secret, just as we do with our life partners. Sometimes if we have issues,
Right.
you know, we don't want to broadcast it and make them
Right,
feel,
right.
you know, guilty about anything,
Right.
but we want to pull them to the side and probably have a conversation with them in secret, and that message just might seep through.
Right.
Maybe not right then and there. They
Right.
may not say, "Oh yeah, I get it," but later on,
Exactly.
in a vision, a voice, or something
Exactly.
just may spark their
And
attention
they'll
say,
appreciate it.
"Thank you." Yes,
And they'll appreciate it. Because you
Absolutely.
said it with respect and with love.
absolutely,
And
and they
that's how
can
you
feel
need to come
that.
at it.
Yeah.
That's how you need to come at our people with love. We're loving people.
Yes,
We really are. And that's proven. Look
and so
at,
accepting. We're so accepting.
but that's who we are. We're spiritual, loving people. That's just who we are.
It's in our blood.
It's in our blood. It's in our DNA.
Yeah.
We can't deny that. We can't change that. That's just who we are. I mean, look at Nelson Mandela.
Yeah.
You know, after that man out of prison, he could have been and said, but he didn't. He was gracious. You know, he was the Zulu king that he was. You know, God bless him. You know, I mean, just look at all of the past brothers and sisters who could have,
Yeah.
but they didn't.
Yes.
You can be evil. We can be evil, nasty, mean, and we have every right to be angry. I don't care. Yes, I'm angry. I can be an angry Black woman, but at the same time, I understand that I have to put that anger aside sometimes when it comes to my people. And don't say, you know, things like, I buy Black wherever I can.
Yes.
Okay. So a lot of people say, well, I try, but you know what? That person or that, you know, whatever just didn't do right one time. And you're going to just go ahead and persecute the entire race
Right.
or the entire profession of that person, whoever did you wrong. It could be anybody.
How
it
many
could be
how many
anybody.
times have you bought Chinese food, Italian food, and they get your order wrong, but you still go back?
Okay.
Yeah.
But let me tell you
Yeah.
something. The only reason I eat Chinese food every once in a while, and it's a blue moon, is because my daughter wants it, because
She doesn't get.
she doesn't understand that, but she likes Chinese food. So every once in a while, I'll let her have some. But they don't put money into our neighborhoods. They take that money and they put it into their neighborhoods. They're not putting it into ours. So that's why I buy Black wherever I can, because we need that money to
Keep it-
circulate in our community.
That's right.
You know, but
Have you ever seen a Chinese food commercial?
That's interesting.
absolutely.
Todd
no,
just
I
asked,
haven't.
have we ever seen a Chinese food commercial?
I haven't. That's
No.
interesting. That's interesting. And you know what? They don't need to. They don't need to, because we're going, and it could be the nastiest Chinese restaurant on the
Yeah.
dirty floors, dirty, the man
Everything.
spitting behind the counter,
Mhm,
whatever.
picking food up off the
Picking
floor.
Picking their nose, and they still buy. Why? Why are you doing this? Why? I don't understand it. I really don't.
Yeah,
I
I mean,
really
I think we definitely need to support our people, and I said that I told this story before, and I think it's really important. So I like, it's not the House of Seafood. What is that? Is it the House of Seafood down? Okay, so it's the House of Seafood. I believe it's in Harlem on 132nd Street.
Okay.
I go there. It's a small little, looks like a mom and pop, but I love that place.
Okay.
And it's Black owned.
Okay.
And I go there and get the shrimp. And, you know, when Kayla comes down from college, you know, one time she treated me there. And I think she was short about, I want to say 10 cents. And she said, oh, the guy behind the counter, I actually knew him because we went to school together. And he said, oh, no, don't worry about it, Jamil. We good. I said, no, we're not. I'm going to my car.
Right.
I'm going to get you your 10
That's
cents
right.
and I'm going to give it to
That's
you.
right.
And Kayla was like, Ma, but
That's
he
right.
said, and I said, no,
That's
you
right.
give that 10 cents.
That's right.
Because that 10 cent means something.
Exactly.
And furthermore, when you go somewhere else and you shop, they ain't letting you go buy
This
no
is
10
true.
cents. Not even,
This is true.
they don't even want to give you your
This
1
is true.
cent
This
as
is
your
true.
change.
This is true. But let me just speak to that.
Yeah.
Just for a half a second.
Of course.
Don't block their blessing. Because that 10 cent could have been his blessing to you.
That's true too.
So don't block his blessing in that. Just say thank you and pass it on.
Yeah.
You know, what do you say? Pay it forward.
Yeah.
You
That's a
know.
good way to look at it.
Yeah. Don't block their blessing. But they're how we teach our children. That's a good way to teach them too. To be honest, we went to the movies one time, and there was a wallet in the parking lot, and it had all these credit cards in it. It had money in it, all of this stuff. Belonged to this white woman. You know, I saw, and we opened. Oh,
The
who does this
IDs.
belong to? So everybody else was saying like, oh, give it to security. I was like, no, security might spend the money, take the money, use the cards. I'm not going to do that.
Mail it to the person.
Let me, well, which would have been a good idea too.
Yeah.
Because I was looking for the ID. It wasn't really a whole lot of ID in there, but I did find one business card with this woman's name on the back. So I called the card. It was a carpet place, one of these Persian rug, expensive kind of places. This is in Westbury.
Yeah.
So I called it and I said, listen, I just found the wallet for blah, blah, blah. Because looked her up, Googled, couldn't find her, 411, nothing.
And
right?
look at all that work and effort you put into
A lot
finding
of
this young
work and
lady.
effort. We did
Yeah.
all that. I mean, it took us about a good, I want to say 15, 20 minutes
Yeah.
before, I'm looking through all this stuff. And I hated doing that, but I'm like, this belongs to somebody and she's really going to miss this wallet.
That's right.
Make a long story short, so I called the rug place, and the person, the answer, oh, that's my niece's wallet. Oh, God bless you, blah, blah, blah. She says, maybe we can come and pick it up. I said, you know what? You're on our way home, so I'm
I'll
just
bring
going
it
to
to
drop it
you.
off at the store on our way home. Oh, that's so nice of you, blah, 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 blah. So we get to the store. Of course, my youngest daughter was with us. So we get to the store, and I said, here's the wallet. Oh, thank you so much, blah, blah, blah. And I just spoke to her. I said, tell her she doesn't need to cancel any of her credit cards. It's in here, all her money, everything is there, okay?
stuff.
So the woman goes, oh, well, she wants you to wait. I said, no, that's okay. She said, no, please wait. It'll take about 20 minutes. Or 20 minutes, I'm ready to go home. No, please wait, please
Don't block
wait.
your blessing.
I know, right? I said, okay, let me just wait for this woman. So we waited. She came in. It was her husband, and 3 kids, oh, thank you. She gave me this big hug, blah, blah, blah. And then she said, here's $100. I said, no, I didn't do it for that reason. That's not why I waited.
That's right.
I wanted to give you. Well, no, please take this $100. I said, no, I'm not going to do that. So I said, well, you know what? Since she was insistent, I said, give it to my daughter. So she gave it to her.
Okay.
But that was a lesson
Yeah.
for her to know this is how you deal with things, because things have been returned to me.
Yes.
There was a wallet I lost in the back of a rental car that I got back. There was all kinds of things. If you think about it, it'll come back to you.
That's
That universal law, that law
That's
of attraction
right.
again.
That's right.
So that's another way to teach them.
I've done that. I found a Gucci wallet. Actually, I still have the wallet at my desk because no one came to claim it. But I took all the IDs and information out of it because I started to take it to the post office.
Okay.
But then again, just like you said, sometimes I don't trust,
Right,
the process.
exactly.
So what I did was I got back to my office. I got a self-stamp envelope, and then I just put all the credit cards, the money, and all that other good stuff,
Right.
and I just mailed it to the person.
Right.
And which was good. Again, they never came back to
Right,
claim
right.
the wallet, but I did put the work address
Right.
so they would know where to come and get it.
Good.
It's a nice Gucci wallet.
Good.
It's still sitting, and I
Right.
think this happened maybe a year and a half ago, and the wallet is still sitting in my desk. So yes,
Lessons.
yeah,
Lessons.
and it takes you a long way.
It does. It really does. It does. Because if you continue, like you said, the definition of insanity, you keep doing the same thing, expecting a different outcome.
Insane, yeah.
But the thing is, if you don't do what you're supposed to do, follow those universal laws,
Even
tenets,
in
and
secret.
principles, and you feel it.
Yeah.
You hear that little small voice in the back of your head say, blah, blah, blah. Listen.
That's
be
right.
obedient.
I did
Listen
it
to
today.
it.
I did it today. There was this I was leaving LIU after teaching a class, and I didn't have any money in my pocket. I'm getting into the habit of not carrying cash on me, which is not so good because I always tell my
Right.
children at least have $10
Exactly,
to $20 in your
exactly,
pocket for an emergency.
exactly.
So I didn't have any money in my pocket, and this young lady, she was I say young lady in respect, but she was an older lady, twice my age actually, and she was walking, and she said, I just came from Bellevue Hospital. I had to go get my Haldol shot, so she's suffering from pain and stuff like that. And then, I always ask questions. I guess it's the social worker in me. So she's like, well, before that happened, going back a little bit, she stopped me. She said, you know, miss, could you just take me to get me something to eat? Normally I never give money. I will take someone to get something to eat, but I didn't have any cash on me because she wanted a pizza, and it's like one of those dollar pizza places and they only take cash. So I said, no ma'am, I'm sorry, I really don't have it. Carell, I went to go walk off, and I think I took about 5 steps, and I stopped, and then I watched this lady, and then she asked someone else, and it was a European young lady, and the lady said no, and then she asked someone else, and the person said no. So I went back to the young lady, and I was talking to her, and I said, hey, where are you coming from? And that's when she started explaining to me about Bellevue. She has a 15-year-old granddaughter. You know, one of her sons is incarcerated. And then as I'm walking with her, I said, okay, come walk with me. I said, I can't get you a pizza. I said, but I'll take you to McDonald's and just grab you something before I jump on the train.
Because you can use your card.
Right. So then a European young lady came behind me, and she had like this self-made salad. It's like a fruit salad. So she gave it to the lady. And I said, okay, well, are you good with that? And she said, you know, I'm really good with the fruit, but I would really like it if I could have something hot, you know, and I'm really thirsty because I just came from Bellevue, and you know, we had a long conversation. I usually ask questions just to see the integrity of the person.
Right.
So we walked to McDonald's. I got her something to eat, and then I got on the train, and I felt a lot better. You know, even though it was done in secret, you know, I could have kept walking. It was easy to just keep walking and just say, you know, I really don't have it, because I didn't have cash on me. It was the truth. But just to turn back and to have that conversation with that young lady and to give her, you know, the opportunity to eat did something for me.
Yeah.
You know,
I used to say the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I still would feed anybody.
Right.
I still will. In terms of money, like I don't like to give money either.
because you don't know where it's going.
But you know what? That's not on me. That's on them.
Okay. That's a good way to look at it.
That's on them.
Yeah.
So you have to be responsible for yourself. If you tell me I want $5 to eat or $1 to eat or whatever, and I give it to you, and you go and get drugs or liquor or whatever, guess what? That's not on me. I did what I was supposed to do, because you never know who the angels in disguise are.
That's true.
You know, and who may turn around and give you a blessing. It was this one time I was up in Harlem, and this brother was looking through the dumpster of the fruit stand, you know, trying to get his fruit and vegetables, that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And sometimes they throw out stuff that's not that bad.
They do it right across the street in Hale
Exactly.
and Hardy. And we seen a lot of people standing out there waiting for them to put them bags out there, and they take that good food.
Don't blame them, because there's nothing, because they have to get rid of that food that night.
Right.
So make a long story short, so the brother was like, we looked and we knew he was hungry. So he just went and got him something to eat and said, here, take this. Oh, thank you, my sister. You want some of these fruits and vegetables? I said, no, brother, you keep it, But look at that blessing.
That's right.
He's going to offer me what he needed to sustain himself. That's why I say you never know who those angels in disguise are. So if I give you $1, what you do with it is your business. I did what I was supposed to do.
That's right.
So I don't, I'm just saying that.
No, I love it. That's the mother in you. And I'm sitting here and I'm listening and I love it. And I'm taking it all in. Trust me. And I'm sure that everybody who's listening is also taking it in,
right.
And that's another thing, to segue back a little bit into the conversation. A lot of our youth, they need to listen.
They need
and
to.
not even only the younger, the older, the middle aged,
right.
Because you can learn from
We're
anyone.
Jaded. A lot of us are jaded.
You can learn from anyone,
Exactly.
So I appreciate, the words of wisdom and I'm humbled that you're here with us
Not
tonight. This couldn't have been a better conversation with you.
Thank you.
Yeah. So when we speak about racism, where do you see us in another 10 years? Let's go 5 years.
Let's go 5 years.
5
Let's go 10 years. Let's do this. Let's say those who are listening, and even those who aren't, who are aware, do something to help somebody. If you help just one person, you're helping a whole bunch of people, because you never know who this person will affect. And remember that. It's just like when it comes to the educational component. Okay, so my daughter goes to this mainly white school, but I would tell anybody who's a child of color or a mother of color who wants their child to get a great education. Listen, unapologetically black. If guilty white folks want to pay for my child to get a good education, then so be it.
Yeah.
If you want to give her some scholarship money or whatever, I'm grateful. Because you know what? If the playing field had been level in the first place, I wouldn't need your money. Okay, I wouldn't need it. My family would have had their 40 acres and a mule and whatever, and we would have gone on and had businesses or whatever and been just as successful, if not more so than you. So we need to share. We need to, 5 years, we need to bring each other up. We need to take somebody to the side and just mentor a young person. Speak to them. You see somebody, I've told these young brothers, put your pants up, brother. I don't want to see your drawers. I really don't. It's not attractive, and we know where that came from, But the point is, 5 years from now, I think we can help one person. If we help one person, we may be helping a generation.
That's right.
So we need to do that. In 10 years, I'm hopeful. I'm still idealistic. I
see
really
it.
still
I
am,
see it.
I believe in us. I believe we can help. I see people all the time helping out our people. Each one teach one.
Yeah.
I see us doing that
Yeah.
all the time and not being afraid. But then I see some of us being afraid.
Yes.
So I would just like for us not to be afraid in 5-10 years when Trump is gone. Hello, when he's gone, okay, to go back to who we are and then just embrace who we are and just take one person, just take somebody by the hand and say, you know what, I'd like to just mentor you. And it doesn't mean money. It could just mean some time. That's all. Spend some time. Talk. Even if you don't see them all the time, speak to them. Forget all this texting all the time. Speak to somebody.
Yeah, that kinetic energy, that
exactly,
interpersonal communication needs to be brought back.
Exactly. I'm not saying don't text, but speak to them sometimes.
Right.
And
what about in the schools? Our school system.
Jesus,
when
let
it
me
comes.
not talk about our school system.
Yeah.
These teachers today, unfortunately, a lot of them, I can't say 100% of them, again, I don't deal in absolutes, but we don't expect things from our children. And when you don't expect, you don't get it. So you've got them dumbed down, okay,
Right.
not living up to their potential. Because when I tell you our kids are bright,
Yes, they are.
I can't begin to tell you how bright our children
They just
are.
sometimes don't exercise their full potential.
It's not even that they don't exercise it. The parents aren't encouraging them to exercise that full potential. And I can't really blame them because they weren't taught to exercise their full potential. But take somebody and say, I see kids all the time, like maybe up at the corner store or something like that, I'll just say, they're trying to buy something or whatever. And like a sister will give a toddler in a carriage some soda. Say, you know what's this? Why don't you give him some juice? I might buy an orange juice. Just give them this
100%
apple
juice.
juice.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. They're appreciative of that. And I say, don't give them soda. It's not first thing in the morning.
Right.
Kind of sort of not
Yeah.
saying you
Got
don't
it
know how
in
to
there
raise your
and-
child, but let me just give you, this or whatever, or tell you about this, that kind of thing. And some of them look and say, thank you.
Yeah.
But I've had somebody say, ain't none of your business, So,
Right.
okay, fine, but no problem. But can he still have the apple juice?
Aside from that,
Okay, I can take it. I wear big girl drawers. I can take what you're putting out. Okay?
I like that big girl drawers. Big girl drawers.
You know what I'm saying?
Out there, do what you got to do.
Okay. But let me just do this. I can take it. So cuss me out. It's all right.
Yeah,
But I
but
don't
let's
wanna
save
see
this
you.
baby.
Let's save this baby.
Right.
Let's save this baby.
Yeah.
That's all.
I had a gentleman come on the show. His name was Adrian, and he worked for the Board of Education. He had a long-term endeavor of to actually build his own school.
Wonderful.
And I thought that was very inspirational. And it built the school for blacks, and also part of his teaching lessons, even though he is an ELA teacher in high schools, he reinforced the fact that yes, we can have these side conversations about history. We can have these side conversations that bother you about racism, discrimination, stereotypical things, generalizations, and that to me was what we need, and he was young. He wasn't, I think he was anywhere between, I would say, 28 and 35, shout out to Adrian. And that's impactful. A few weeks ago, we had Karina on the line, family. We had Karina, we had Alisa and Al here speaking about black business and how important it is to build a legacy and just keep that thing going. And I think that is also a way to not segue, but kind of keep us balanced and more focused on the more important things versus just focusing on discrimination and racism and all these negative things that are happening around us. Not being oblivious, knowing that the things are there, but also that there's also a bigger picture. If you want certain things to stop, this is what you have to do to contribute to your people.
Absolutely.
Add to the value of your people. The show, just bringing on people such as yourself, beautiful, to speak out to our people and stand in strength, and that means a
well,
lot.
you know what, if people would Going back to the educational component, like I said, I would speak to anybody about the educational system and
Yeah.
what they can do to help their children realize a great education, because the money is out there.
That's right.
The money is out there, and they need the diversity. They want the diversity, okay? But the point is, when in a lot of these public schools, like I said, they don't expect our children to succeed, so they don't do anything to push them.
Right.
And they have great potential. Case in point, proven case in point. If anybody can look up this brother Marcus Klein in Chicago, Freedom Home Academy, when I tell you this brother is bringing
Klein.
Marcus Klein, let me tell you something. Check him out on YouTube. He's got 2- and 3-year-olds speaking Swahili and French and doing chemistry. He's got kids that are elementary, can tell you every part of the body. You know, he does a whole pre-med thing and a whole pre-law thing. He's got
That's
kids that go,
impressive.
impressive is an understatement. Check this brother out with those children. And I'm telling you, if he can do it with those kids, and they're all children of color, all little black kids, if he can do it with those kids, that proves to me, in Chicago, do or die Chicago, okay? If he can do it with them, they can be done up here. It can be done up here.
That's right.
But just look at the intelligence of our children. It's there. It's there. But we have to cultivate it.
That's right.
have
And
to
stop
cultivate
looking
it.
at other children and saying
Exactly.
that they're much better than
Exactly,
we are.
because they're not. You
Yeah.
know, I have parents tell me all the time, when I talk about education and, you know, sending your kids to these independent day schools, say, I don't have the money. You don't need the money. They have the money for you.
Oh, yeah.
You don't need the money, okay? But the thing is, do something to help educate your child, no matter what. Because again, like I said, if the playing field were level in the first place, we wouldn't need them.
Right.
But it's important that we survive, that we rebuild our communities,
That's
okay?
right.
Safer communities. It's important.
And speak life into
And
our children.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And speak all of that into, because they have it. It's there. Check him out. Check him out.
Will do.
He'll show you those. You're going to be amazed. You will be floored. I kid you not. I wish I lived in Chicago at that time, you know, for,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
just for the educational component of what he's teaching those children. And it's all based on, you know, he does all about chem. He teaches all about chem and black history and, you know, all that stuff. And before slavery, because again, our history did not start with slavery.
That's right.
It didn't. So we need to look back and see who we were and who we need to be. And I think that as a part of the master plan, okay, is designed to try to keep us down. But it's up to you not to let them succeed and win. Totally up to you. But that's a self-decision. You know, and a lot of people will still say, "Oh, the white man is trying to keep me down." The white man is not trying to keep you down.
Some of that is impartial excuses. I have to say,
Oh, no
you know,
question.
minimizing,
No
denying,
question.
blaming that
No
that stage, you know, and just so that, you know, an excuse of not
trying,
not wanting to
Absolutely.
do better. And then, you know, you have to look at the reality that some people are just comfortable being in
Absolutely.
those type of situations,
Absolutely.
whatever those situations
Right.
are, you know, and some people want to elevate and move on, you know, and I would say, you know, whether it's in business, your personal life, whatever, you know, you take the ones that are willing to go, and sometimes on the way you may have to drop some people off.
Oh, no question.
You know,
No
they may not
question.
always meet you at the finish line. You know, and it can be difficult because, you know, I would say even as a you know, in the business profession, I do want to take a lot of people with me, but they just don't.
Some people don't want to
wanna
go. They don't want to go.
You know.
As an entrepreneur, I tell people all the time, you know, broke people give broke advice.
Yeah.
And not only that, but
I like that.
because I mean, if you're listening to them, then where's your head going to be?
Yeah.
Where's your head going to
Yeah,
be?
you have to
know,
surround yourself.
Absolutely. Some people make excuses, others make money. You know, so hey,
I want to make money.
then don't make excuses.
That's
Do
right.
what you got to do.
That's right. So in closing, do you have any other comments that you want to make in regard to racism before I kind of get to some Facebook energy?
Don't let that stop you. Racism is alive and well. The struggle is real, but don't let that stop you. Push through, because you can.
Yes.
You can. We have, you know, it's so much more that I can say. But my thing is, we're here. A lot of us did not come from Africa. My great-great-grandparents, my great-great-grandfather was a Native American. Okay, so he didn't come from Africa. But my great-great-grandmother was a freed slave here at 9 years old. Okay, they got together, so they produced this.
Right.
But the point is, had it not been for her parents surviving that middle passage, I wouldn't be here. So what does that tell you about the strength of your people, of your ancestors before you got here. They survived. Millions, probably billions were lost during that Middle Passage over here from that trip from Africa to America. And the strength that they had to endure. Some of them took their babies, they jumped over the sides, they killed themselves, they got killed, whatever. But you're here. So if you're here and your ancestors came from Africa during that Middle Passage, you had that strength in your DNA to survive, to fight.
The resilience
to
is
the
in you.
resilience, the persistence to do whatever it is you need to do, but you need to realize who you are. So don't let that racism stop you. That's just a little bitty thing. That's just a little hiccup on the journey to your success.
Powerful. So let me turn to Todd really quickly. Are there some comments on Facebook that you want to read? Some shout outs really quickly.
Danny Beckett said, "Know your hustle."
There you go.
Wayne Gatlin said, "Preach, sister," because it's quick and cheap. And what happens in our school system are not totally the education system's fault. Most of the fault lies within ourselves and our communities. And I'd like to thank out to J. Lo, Michelle Patton-Coy, Sulan Chin Peterson, Dietrich Badletto, Kev Smooth, Carl Gibson, Derek Mapp, Chris Fody, Sheila Johnson Atkins for listening in, Rhonda Webb, Papa Kel Washington for listening in. Thank you for listening in this week.
Yeah, and I just want to give a shout out to some other people. We have Whitney Taylor in the house. We have Stephanie Teal. I have Leon Tillman, Benjamin Crutch, David Nieves. We have Tamika Capers. We have Blackstone. Shout out to you, my karate partner. We have Sarah Lynn. Danny Beckett was also on my side. Crystal Hilliard. We have Jason Barnett. Again, Michelle Patton-Coy. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. And I'm sure they only tuned in to see the lovely Kirill. Yes, absolutely.
I wanted to say something funny about what y'all were talking about, making the money. Once I got a phone call, and it was one of those solicitors, and he says, "Would you like to be a millionaire?" So I said, "Sure, I would love to be a millionaire." So he said, "Well, we have a program to teach you how to become a millionaire." So I'm saying to myself, this guy's calling me, and I don't think he's a millionaire, but if he has a program to become a millionaire, why doesn't he take it? So I said, "My brother, before we go any further, can I ask you a question?" He said, "Sure." I said, "Are you a millionaire?" So he said, "No." So I said, "Well, would you like to be a millionaire?" So he said, "Yeah, I would love to." So I said, "Well, why you ain't take the program to become a millionaire?" Right? And he said, "Well, that's not the direction I want to go." Right? So I said, "So you calling me to tell me to go in the direction you wouldn't have come to a surefire way to become a millionaire?" I said, "Something don't sound right."
Okay.
I said, "If you was Puffy, and it was funny, right? Because it was so long ago. I said, if it was Puffy or Donald Trump or somebody to call me to tell me how to be a millionaire, maybe I'd listen, right?"
Don't say that now.
I didn't say that. Yeah, it was a long time ago. Okay. I said I would be. So he says to me, "Oh, you're a smart brother. You got jokes." I said, "Yeah." I said, "You can't call me and tell me about becoming a millionaire, and that's not the direction I want to go. Listen to yourself. You up here listening, making millions for somebody else, calling people on the phone and trying to sign them up for a program that you wouldn't even take." So I told him to have a nice day, and he said, "Have a nice day." We hung up.
See, if he was smart, if he were smart, and you asked him, "Are you a millionaire?" he should have said, "Yes, I am. It just hasn't manifested itself yet." If he were
Speaking
smart.
it into existence.
But since that wasn't the direction he wanted to go in, then he will never be a millionaire.
And I just want to say, somebody taught me last week how to be a millionaire. I'm not going to put it out there because I got some information. I'm not sure if that information is confidential and it's supposed to be, just for certain people. But there is a system out there, or there's a program out there where you can join. And if you contribute, you put money in, you can get money out of it. And not only has this person shared this information in confidence with me, which again, I'm not going to mention, they've showed me via social media, via conversations, how this money is made in a legit way to, in a profit. And I think it's awesome. So to just piggyback off of what Todd is saying, a person can say things and it mean nothing. But when you see that background action, is really where you say to yourself, wow, this can really happen.
Right.
And it's the same thing with racism, and it's the same thing with making that move.
Right.
Like you said earlier, people just need to stop talking, or talk, because the conversation is needed, but also do something about it.
Absolutely.
Because if you don't do something about it, or if you're allowing someone else to talk about it, as you also mentioned, you're a part of the problem. Yeah, you're a part of the problem.
Not a part of the solution.
That's right. That's right.
Each one teach one. And that person who said that there's a program out there, you need to ask them if you can share that, because there are some people who really need maybe that information. Ask
I
them
definitely will ask.
It's okay.
And he's been sharing. He's been sharing, and I also saw someone else share. But again, I don't know if they really want me to mention it at this point, so I'm going to ask for their permission.
Yeah,
but I just wanted to put it out there as a live example of it is possible to become a millionaire.
Absolutely.
Maybe not overnight, but
oh yeah. Unless you hit the lottery or something.
Oh God. So with that being said, I just want to say thank you so
You're
much
quite
from the bottom of my heart.
From the bottom of my heart for inviting me.
Yes, sharing in conversation with me. You've definitely taught me a lot as the mother, not only of soul, but of grace, of respect, of integrity, of wisdom. And I am honored to know you and again have you on the show today.
I'm glad we had this conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I'm sure you moved a lot of mountains today. And again, I'm sure that they're pretty much tired of seeing me because they know I'm going to be here every Tuesday. But when I said Kirill is going to be on, it's like, okay. We're here, so thank you so much to the viewers and supporters. Thank you so much for your continued support. And you've been tuned into Questions, Answers, and Solutions. I was your host, Jameer Hayward, and we had the wonderful Kirill in the house. Thank you so much to Todd Taylor. Thank you so much to the engineer for the night from FLO Empire Radio. Please tune in next Tuesday at 8 p.m. Questions, Answers, and Solutions. It's been great. Good night, guys.
Good night.